Loud exhausts are glorious. Your neighbors might not like your straight pipe car shaking their house. Today we'll talk about the competitive, controversial market for valved exhaust, and whether you should buy a part from the US or a cheap no-name part from Alibaba.
Enter the valved exhaust system. These systems let you have the best of both worlds by having a pneumatically or electronically controlled valve that can bypass additional muffling. Leaving for work in the morning and want to keep your car quiet? Close those valves. Ripping through the canyons and want to hear your exhaust sing? Open them up. These systems also offer a performance benefit, as opening the valves at higher RPM allows for better exhaust flow. So, you're interested in installing one of these. What are your options?
Let's say you have an E92 M3. Here are some of the options you have available. There's Valvetronic, Armitrix, Meisterschaft, IPE, valvedexhaust.ca, ValveMaster, Anhui Skyly Automotive Parts Co. Limited, Jiangxi Shisui Auto Parts Co. Limited. Wait, Jiangxi Shisui Auto Parts Co. Limited? Yes, these no-name Chinese manufacturers have actually become quite popular recently because they're becoming a lot more accessible through online marketplaces like Alibaba. But with all these options available, there should really be one clear winner, right?
Like most things in life, there's a bit of nuance involved. Let's take a look at all these exhausts side by side. They tend to have similar bends, similar layout, very similar finish, almost identical mufflers, and to top it all off, the remotes are the exact same. Well, if they all look the same, let's check out the pricing. Most of the exhausts from the more familiar names will run you about $3 to $5 grand. But if you're looking to buy from overseas and choose a Chinese manufacturer, you're gonna spend about $1,500 on a full exhaust system. That's odd, and that's where this gets interesting. Many BMW owners on social media and forums have been complaining that North American companies seem to be purchasing these Chinese-made products, slapping their name on it, and selling it for an absurd markup. It's hard to tell exactly how many of these companies are dropshipping or white labeling these exhausts, but there's one we do know a bit about, and it's one of the largest and potentially most controversial valved exhaust companies out there, Valvetronic.
It's 2018, and future Valvetronic founder Austin Huffman comes up with an idea after his mom refuses to drive in his loud car. Now, Austin was not the first to have this idea. Valved exhausts have been on both OEM cars and in aftermarket solutions for years, but his goal was to make them more accessible. He got to work and founded Valvetronic Designs, which focused on providing valved BMW exhaust systems that give you that OEM volume for driving around the neighborhood and that glorious unrestricted goodness around the canyons. The company got its start dropshipping exhausts from China, labeling them with their own Valvetronic branding. Valvetronic actually has admitted to this, despite making claims that they were manufactured completely in the US from the beginning. And don't get me wrong, these exhausts were, and still are, pretty good. But Valvetronic exhausts have been widely criticized for their lack of refinement. Open up the valves and you basically have a full straight pipe. And that's a good thing for some people, but it's definitely not for everyone. And this business model worked for Valvetronic. They quickly became the go-to for valved exhausts. Valvetronic's success is largely a function of Austin and his team, who all share marketing backgrounds. In fact, every single person listed on Valvetronic's website has a role in either marketing, media, or logistics. With an apparent lack of in-house R&D, many called out Valvetronic's aggressive markup, saying it's just not worth the price. More recently, Valvetronic does say they are designing these exhausts in-house and only having them manufactured in China.
All of these developments take place in-house. Most notably, one of our recent developments is our G80 M3 and M4 equal-length system. This brings on the next question: do we source parts from overseas? Just like your phone, computer, car, and other things you use on a daily basis, the answer is yes.
In an attempt to legitimize their R&D, Valvetronic has recently been promoting their partnership with fabricators from Seoul Performance, a reputable exhaust brand also out of the US. But given the similarities across all the exhausts in this space, it's pretty likely that Valvetronic is leaving most of its design work to its partners overseas. If you purchase a Valvetronic exhaust for any platform, you will be getting one of 3 muffler options. And these 3 muffler designs have very similar equivalents that you can find on Alibaba and other Chinese wholesalers. When specifically asked about what parts of their exhaust are designed and built in the USA, Valvetronic has always been pretty vague. But why is that a problem?
To understand why, we need to take a step back and look at overall exhaust design. The sound that an exhaust system makes is incredibly dependent on a bunch of different factors. Things like the overall length of the exhaust, the material it's made of, and the number of bends can drastically change the frequencies that are outputted. Standard cars will have their exhaust designed to be as quiet as possible while still having unimpeded flow. However, performance cars are often tuned to sound good. When you increase the exhaust diameter, the engine tends to sound deeper. Different exhaust materials can change the reverberation, which can give a sportier sound. In addition, steps can be taken to reduce frequencies that can be seen as annoying. This is why most passenger cars don't drone on the freeway. So putting a universal muffler on a car usually results in one of 2 things. If it's a car that sounds great straight piped, like let's say an E92 M3, chances are it's going to sound great when the valves are open. But the additional bend and route through the muffler might make it sound kind of crappy when the valves are closed. But a lot of people aren't interested in the clarity of their exhaust, they just want it loud. On the other hand, if your car doesn't really sound great when it's straight piped, maybe adding that muffler makes it sound better by removing some of those frequencies that are unwanted. But without any specific tuning, you won't know what it'll sound like until it's actually on the car. If you're prioritizing performance or a cleaner tone with your exhaust, it might be better to go with a manufacturer that clearly spends more on in-house R&D.
The fun thing about this market is it really isn't clear who is copying who, and that's not the end of the world. Valvetronic has admitted to dropshipping their original exhaust, so that's likely where their original muffler design and controller came from. And Valvetronic's recent push for in-house R&D is likely influencing some of these other overseas manufacturers as well. This copycat culture in this very competitive market likely pushes these products forward towards better quality and design. While we wish it was clear what was developed where, there are a lot of great valved exhaust available. But which one should you choose?
Obviously, a big factor is price. If you prioritize performance and quality, you're better off with a bigger manufacturer with a proven track record and the data to back it up. But if you're looking for that extra level of control over your exhaust noise, there's no need to discount these valved exhaust systems. Despite their dubious origins, a lot of these systems are really great, and there's a lot of people who really love them. If you do decide on a valved exhaust system, one thing to consider is the level of support you'll get from the company. US companies tend to have a much better reputation for honoring warranty claims and providing support. But some of these Alibaba companies have started to offer a 1-year warranty as well. At the end of the day, it's really up to what level of risk you're willing to assume. We're excited to see how the valved exhaust market continues to evolve and hope this video was an interesting insight into its history. What do you think? Do you think these Valvetronic exhausts are worth it at the end of the day?